Welcome to WagerTalk TV. I am Kelly Stewart. We're starting a new segment called Ask the Experts. So I guess that's these two guys right here. Bryan, Leonard, Tony Finn. Sorry, I have to be a smartass. You guys know it. All right, we're going to talk about MLB handicapping, which you guys know if you followed me for a long time, I am terrible at it. Bryan is going to give me some crash courses this summer, though. So we're going to start off with 3 questions we have from Twitter. At Dorsey Bryant, he was looking for relevant statistics to use when handicapping baseball games, where to find them for both picking sides and totals. Bryan, I'll let you answer that one.
Okay, well, I'll start off where to find them. There's some websites that I look at that do terrific jobs. One of them is Baseball Savant, Baseball Reference, of course, Fangraphs, and you get a subscription to Fangraphs to get even more information. Brooks Baseball, and for those who do totals, I don't do much totals, MLB Weather, and those are all excellent sources for getting your information. And some of the things I use, and I actually prefer to look at the base numbers. Basically, people will look at the results. They'll look at, okay, what's this guy's OPS? What's all these, the bad for years ago,
and crazy stuff that I don't understand. Yes,
all that crazy stuff, and you can get all those kind of numbers. But I'd like to look at, and a lot of these places will have barrels hit. Like exit velocity, the velocity of the pitches from the pitchers, the spin rate from the pitchers. To me, those are more valuable. But if you are looking for just the simple stats, for hitting, we got DRC Plus, which is a new one this year. And that's very similar to WAR. That's a hitting stat. It follows just about everything. But WRC Plus, WOBA, OPS. Walks divided by strikeouts, swinging strike rate, contact percentages, things like that for the hitters.
Or you can just buy Bryan's baseball package and not give yourself a headache. Holy cow. Okay. Tony, I'm going to go to you. Can you give me some relevant statistics you like, or maybe any sites that you prefer to use to get those statistics?
Well, what Bryan just outlined is deep analytics, deep metrics, and they're very helpful. That's time-consuming as could be. You have to limit to some degree how much time you're going to spend on one game, on one pitcher, on one lineup. And for me, I paid little attention to surface numbers.
Okay.
The RA means nothing to me. It mees absolutely nothing.
So all the stuff that we basically see on the average sport websites, nothing. Just throw it away.
And I look for, and there's lots of sites, and you can Google the sites, but I really pick obscure sites and typically contact the web design, or whoever owns it, the webmaster. And I have one guy who I use, or several guys I use, but I use a lot of underlying peripherals. Just because a pitcher has an ERA that's a 3.5 and he's going against a guy who's a 5.5, let's say both lineups are fairly equal as far as surface numbers go. I use something much different than ERA, and it's much like Bryan described, and most of it, though, is balls hit in play. There's a lot of luck involved with a pitcher. What's the strand rate of a pitcher? Things that most people have no idea what it is. And are they a ground ball pitcher? Are they a fly ball pitcher? What's the lineup they're facing? What venue are they in? There's thousands of variables you can use from Major League Baseball handicapping. Find your niche, find something that works, and when it's working, stay with it till it doesn't.
All right, I like it. All right, next up from @ColeKellen1, how to use baseball analytics to our advantage for amateur bettors. Also, what specific stats, we already kind of hit on that one, specific stats to focus on. So how to use baseball analytics. Can you give a quick crash course, Baseball 101?
Yeah, basically, in addition to the ones that I've already talked about, and that was just for the hitting, not even including what the pitchers do. But go out there and find somebody who's already put the information together. One of the services I use is Clear Data Sports. Base Winner runs it. He's got a chart, and you just go down and you can look at the chart instead of having to do all this yourself. He sets it up that way. So all you have to do is compare the daily lineups that are out that day compared to that and see if you have any value on these games. And that's one of the things that I use. All
right, Tony, last questions from you from @Vegas724. Tips on finding bettable underdogs in baseball.
We go right back. I'll revert right back to analytics and give you an example. I know this will film. We taped this a little early. It won't film, and somebody will watch this. But there's a couple pitchers going tonight. Just a good example would be maybe the Atlanta-Chicago Cubs matchup, where you have a Tehran who, this is a guy who was the opening day starter for Atlanta, a team who won their division last year. And if you look at his in at a fairly young age, 28, about in his prime, his peripherals are deteriorating drastically. In fact, he was fortunate to stay in that rotation last year, and here he is starting. There's nobody started. That's where Atlanta's pitching staff is. That speaks to their staff. And his walk rate's up almost 5% to 22%. He's walking 1 every 5 batters, and his hard contact percentage is up 10% from 2 years ago. So to give you an idea how to find live dogs in baseball, tonight you're going to find that Atlanta is a small favorite over a Cubs team in a really hitter-friendly park now.
So I'm going to kick back to that real quick, and Brian, you can answer this as well. So something I look at in every sport is public perception.
Yes.
This team is terrible, right? We saw that with the Orioles-Yankees on opening day, and sure enough, the Orioles get the win. Does that come into play very often in your handicapping? I mean, do you buy into any of that?
Yeah, definitely. One of the things I learned a long time ago is if you've got an elite pitcher, back then was Pedro Martinez and Randy Johnson, see what the bets come in on. And if your first bets are usually guys getting ahead of the line, and if they're betting against the elite pitchers, those where you could find some nice underdog prices, because you're not getting the full value, but most people are looking to play the Greg Maddoxes and the great pitchers out there right now. So if your first bet is against those guys and it continues to be bet down, you're not getting the best of the number, but that's just telling you right there, just by reading the market, that there's value on those underdogs.
Awesome. Great stuff from both guys. Make sure you follow WagerTalk on Twitter @WagerTalk. Let us know any topics you want to hear on future videos or comment them below.